Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Lego Mandalorian here, and today we are reviewing episode 5 of The Mandalorian. So if you're wondering why I didn't review episode 4, it's because I was actually sick on Friday, so I couldn't really get around to doing it. But anyway, let's move on to the review. So episode 5, kind of, ends like sort of, I guess, a couple days after episode 4. It's, kind of just a one-on-one dogfight space battle between the Mandalorian and a guild member. Um, this was nothing special. It's just an intro to the story itself. Although, one part that did stand out for me was the one, I guess, bounty hunter guy. He, basically steals the Mandalorian's line that he says, well, it's his first speaking line ever. I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. So that part was pretty clever because then he said, no one steals my line after he blows up his ship. So yeah, overall, I think that was a good intro. And then also, I think one of the highlights is we actually get to see the Mandalorian go to Tatooine. He didn't really go there intentionally. It's just the only place that was nearby he could stop. So we see him like drop off his ship at a hangar to get it all fixed and everything because it got beat up and all. So then basically, he needed to get money, work. So at first I did think he was going to go into the actual cantina from A New Hope, but I thought that would be a bit it would be a bit too much on the fan service side. Like if they actually had like the whole band and everything playing. I'm sure that would be cool, but it kind of would feel a bit too fan servicey. So yeah, it was he goes into this bar. I guess there's actually droids in there, so I guess that's a thing that that bar's doing. So then he meets this new guy. What's his name? It's Toro. I think Toro something. So he's basically trying to get into the guild. I guess the Bounty Hunters Guild, and he picked up a puck for this assassin lady. And then the Mandalorian basically tells him, there's no way a newbie like you can take her out. She worked for the Hutts. So yeah, that was a good callback to the Hutts. Obviously, the Hutts of the Hutt Empire is no more. Same with the Empire. So like even in like the Outer Rim territory, like organized crime is even an anarchy, I guess. So then I guess that's the rise of like specific bounty hunter guilds like the one the Mandalorian used to be in. So I doubt we'll see anything else besides that. But anyway, it's kind of just they both go off to find this assassin lady. They run into a couple of sand people, or Tusken Raiders as they're technically called. So it was like basically they kind of actually, it was really weird because we saw the Mandalorian kind of speak in almost like sign language to the Tusken Raiders, which is not really something I expected. But he's definitely been around the galaxy, so if he can speak Jawa, he can probably communicate with Tusken Raiders. So it was that scene was kind of just filler. So then we actually get to see I think it was a dewback with some, I guess, other bounty hunter who got shot by said assassin. So they find this assassin, establish a whole plan to stop her. There's all that. And then there was okay, I'm trying to remember what happened. So this this new guy Toro. They get the assassin. The Mandalorian goes back to get the dewback so they could all go back to Mos Eisley together. But then Toro ends up killing the assassin lady because he knew she was gonna kill him. It was like a whole thing with him trying to convince him to let her go, and then they both bring in the Mandalorian. It did technically make sense what she was saying because the Mandalorian is definitely on the most wanted list for the guild. Probably also the rest of his Mandalorian friends too. they all took out a ton of bounty hunters. So, I mean, he's, definitely number one of all those Mandalorians since he was part of the guild. Not to mention, Baby Yoda is definitely worth a ton, especially now. So he decided, he didn't want to go with her because he wanted to do it all himself, and then he'd be a legend in the guild. So he kills her, and then he basically takes off to go kidnap Baby Yoda. So Mandalorian finds out about all this, goes back. He then actually, I forgot to mention that you kind of use these blinders that they throw to stop the assassin lady because she's a sniper. That's how she killed the one guy on the dewback. So he basically puts his hands up like this, and all that as he's basically got Baby Yoda with his but then he's got the flashy light. I don't know what those are called, blinders or something like that. And then to blind him, and then he has to shoot him, dead. And then they're moving on. So anyway, I guess that's basically my recap of the episode. So what did I think of it? I mean, it's definitely a step up from last week's episode. Last week it was very deja vu to an old Clone Wars episode with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, and actually a few other bounty hunters helping this village of turtle people defend themselves against Hondo Ohnaka's pirates. So that's, like I said, that's basically the same thing with the Mandalorian and Cara Dune. I think that's her name. That's basically what they do. The Mandalorian took Baby Yoda there because he wanted to leave him there. But then another guild member came. So, Mandalorian's been on the run, for the last 2 episodes. So, who knows where the story's gonna go. I'm hoping that we can see his Mandalorian friends again sometime before the end of the season, or it might just be kind of the same thing until we have, some big reveal at the end of the season. I think it's like maybe 8 or 10 episodes. Who knows? But anyway, I would probably give this episode an 8 out of 10. Not as good as the first 3 episodes, but it's better than the 4th one. 4th one felt a bit too filler for me. I mean, this episode is technically filler since the Mandalorian doesn't stay on the planet. He leaves once again. But I feel like, a lot more action happened. It wasn't really just him training an entire village to defend themselves. The reason why I didn't really like it as much is because of how deja vu it felt. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was a good episode. It's an episode that I would be willing to rewatch. I mean, I didn't really feel like rewatching that episode 4 because, deja vu, like I said. So anyway, let me know, what do you think of this episode in the comment section below. And anyway, if you like this video, you can give it a like. If you want to see more of this kind of content, you can subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.